Toyota Express Maintenance provides factory-scheduled maintenance and genuine Toyota parts with convenient while-you-wait service. Vehicle maintenance is completed quickly and efficiently by using dedicated teams of technicians who have been trained in a defined process to eliminate wasted steps and maximize effectiveness. Let's take a look behind the scenes to see how the Toyota Express Maintenance teams provide a great service experience.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The ASM is responsible for the entire transaction. In the Toyota Express Maintenance shop, speed is critical, so the ASM strives to be efficient and sensitive to the customer's time, while ensuring that they gather all the necessary information on the multi-point inspection form to complete the recommended service. Even though the customer is in for Toyota Express Maintenance, the ASM looks to find out if the customer has any particular concerns about their vehicle. If the customer has concerns that are outside of the TXM process, the ASM will refer them to the main service department for a more in-depth diagnosis. After getting the VIN and mileage, the ASM conducts a walk-around inspection and looks for items that may need extra attention, such as wipers and obvious tire wear. The technician will thoroughly inspect anything the ASM indicates on the inspection form. The ASM also notes any existing damage to ensure that the vehicle is returned in the same condition it was brought in. Finally, he checks the vehicle's service history. As the ASM completes the write-up, he carefully explains the comprehensive multi-point inspection process that will be done in addition to the vehicle maintenance the customer has requested. Signing the repair order enables the service to begin. It is a good idea to remove any personal items from the glove box, cabin, and trunk, since the technician will be working in these areas. Once the repair order is signed, the customer can relax in the customer waiting area while the service is being performed. Once the ASM is finished with the vehicle, all of the normal protective seat covers and floor mats are installed, and then the vehicle is moved to a staging area for the technicians. Notice that for Toyota Express Maintenance, there are 2 technicians working the vehicle. This technician team is more efficient and ensures quality control for maintenance services. As Technician A is driving the vehicle onto the lift, Tech B gives clear and concise directions. Tech A has rolled the windows down and turned off the radio. This ensures he can hear Tech B and prevents keys from being locked in the car. Tech B checks the wiper blades and windshield and calls out for the horn and lights.
High beams, fog lights, turn signal, good, good.
Tech A releases the hood latch. Fender covers help protect the vehicle's finish. If the vehicle is equipped with an automatic transmission, he leaves it running until after Tech B has checked the fluid level. He jounces the front suspension and checks the front lights for damage. Tech B checks the AT fluid level with the dipstick if the vehicle is so equipped. While still in the vehicle, Tech A checks all of the interior lights, including the dome, map, and glove box, the combination meter, and dimmer. He also releases the fuel door and trunk latch and checks the parking brake. If the vehicle is equipped with an auto height control, it is disabled. After Tech B has checked the AT fluid level, the engine is turned off.
Okay. No transmission dipstick on this one. Go ahead and turn it off.
Tech B moves to the rear of the vehicle and calls for the rear lights,
Okay, brake lights. Good.
checking each lamp's operation, including the license plate lights. Tech B jounces the rear suspension, then moves to the passenger side of the vehicle. Tech A checked the wiper operation as he drove in, looking for streaking to determine if the blades need replacing. All of the results so far are recorded on the multi-point inspection form. His final task before exiting the vehicle is to install the reminder sticker. Tech A exits the vehicle and reads the tire pressure specification from the door pillar. He calls out the type of service being performed to Tech B.
5K service, 30 PSI on tires, front
Tech A sets the rack for the driver's side. He stops at the fuel door and inspects the fuel cap gasket. At the trunk, he checks the spare tire pressure and records the result. If the vehicle has a trunk-mounted battery, Tech A performs a battery check at this time. Tech B sets the rack on the passenger side of the vehicle. Then he removes and inspects the cabin air filter. If it's dirty, he places it on the bench, otherwise it's reinstalled. Now it is time to lift the vehicle. Tech A makes sure both sides of the rack are set properly and calls for all clear. He then raises the vehicle so the wheels are just off the ground. With the vehicle stable, working in a clockwise direction, Tech A pulls back the red plastic cover from the positive battery terminal and visually inspects both terminals for corrosion. He reads the battery condition indicator and performs a battery test. While Tech A is under the hood, Tech B removes the wheels, placing the lug nuts on the lift arm. He checks each tire for damage or irregular wear as he stages them for rotation. Tech A checks the oil level and records the level on the inspection form. He leaves the dipstick up to remind him to refill the engine with oil later. He then removes the oil cap and places it on the hood latch. Next, he tops off the washer fluid, then measures the percent of protection of the coolant. Checks the coolant level and adds more if needed. He moves on to the power steering fluid level and brake fluid level. He removes the air filter cover and inspects the filter. He inspects the cooling system, including all hoses and belts, and if the vehicle has a top-mounted oil filter, this is when he removes and replaces it. With the initial vehicle inspection complete, it's time to lift the vehicle all the way. Tech A makes sure the area is clear before operating the lift. Tech B checks and adjusts tire pressures, then measures the inner, middle, and outer tread depth. This is repeated for all 4 tires and recorded on the multi-point inspection form. Now, Tech A removes any needed undercovers for the under-vehicle inspection. Working front to rear, he inspects the axle and drive shaft for damage or leaks, the steering linkage, and suspension components. He performs a complete brake inspection, noting the condition of the brakes and measuring the brake lining thickness. He examines the engine and transmission, the transfer if so equipped, and differential for any fluid leaks and checks their fluid levels. He examines the exhaust system, including the muffler and brake and fuel lines. He lubricates the drive shaft and suspension zerks if equipped, and if the spare is mounted underneath the vehicle, he checks its tire pressure at this time. With the multi-point inspection finished, the team reviews the results. Tech B then takes the form and any parts that need to be shown to the customer to the ASM to meet the quarter-time inspection rule. While Tech B is talking to the ASM, Tech A moves under the engine to drain the oil. He removes any necessary undercovers and looks for leaks. Next, he removes and replaces the oil filter if it is mounted underneath, making sure to clean off the oil filter canister and any oil spillage. After delivering the multi-point inspection results to the ASM, Tech B returns to the service bay and reinstalls the wheels, working in a clockwise direction. When the oil is drained, Tech A installs a new drain plug gasket, reinstalls the drain plug, torquing it to specification, cleans off any oil spills, and reinstalls any removed undercovers. If Tech A is done under the vehicle, he helps Tech B with wheel installation. The ASM shares the findings on the multi-point inspection form with the customer and thoroughly explains the recommendations for additional service. With the wheels reinstalled, Tech A lowers the vehicle to the ground, making sure the area is clear. Once the vehicle is safely on the ground, Tech A moves under the hood and refills the engine oil. While Tech A is refilling the oil, Tech B unracks the passenger side of the vehicle and then the driver's side. When done, he enters the driver's seat. After refilling the oil and replacing the oil cap, Tech A lets Tech B know that the oil has been filled so he can start the engine.
We're going to start the vehicle.
After shutting off the engine, Tech B puts the switch back in the on position. Then he starts the tire pressure monitoring system initialization process if the vehicle is so equipped. He also resets the maintenance light. With the engine now off, Tech A waits a few seconds for the oil to settle, then checks the oil level and shows the dipstick to Tech B.
Looks good.
This is an important quality control step. He replaces the dipstick, putting it all the way down, and checks for any fluid leaks under the hood and under the vehicle. Finally, he rechecks the tightness of all caps, wiping them down, and checks that the air filter box and hose are properly installed. Finally, Tech B wipes away any internal smudges he may find. Tech B and the ASM review any additional service request items authorized by the customer. Tech B then gathers the needed parts and records them on the RO. As Tech B installs the cabin air filter, Tech A tightens each wheel to specification using a torque wrench. With the additional requested service items installed, Tech A can now remove the fender covers and wipe away any oil or smudges on the engine or hood. This ensures that the vehicle is returned to the customer in the same condition as it was received. Tech A moves to the bench and signals to Tech B that he is clear and the vehicle is ready to be driven out. He then finishes any remaining paperwork. Once all services are completed, the vehicle is delivered to the customer. Tech A takes a few moments to clean up the work area and reset tools and materials before going to pick up the next job.
So in addition to the inspection we discussed before,
The ASM thoroughly explains the services that were completed while reviewing the multi-point inspection and any additional authorized work. They will also go over all the costs and answer any questions the customer may have. This is a convenient time to schedule the next express maintenance service. The Toyota Express maintenance process is efficient, value-driven, and convenient, which makes factory schedule maintenance a quick and easy process.
your car is ready when you are.
Oh, my.